All right. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another Engineering the Markets. My name is Jared. It is January 4th, 2023. Happy Wednesday. And as we so often say in the chat room, happy hump day to everybody. Shorter trading week this week, so our hump is a little bit less steep. But all in all, we're kind of evaluating the first trading session of the new year. We're looking to see if there's maybe a little bit of clarity that the market is providing, and maybe just talking through what sort of opportunities are starting to present themselves, because I do believe we're seeing confirmation and definitely some triggering setups that have been on deck for a while. First things first, the market did trade slightly lower on the session. We closed a little bit under the yearly close of last year, approximately 382.5. So slight decline in the S&P. NASDAQ also traded lower, and then we saw a relatively flat Dow along with the Russell sort of in line with the S&P. Also, since the trading terminal kind of highlights it here, starting to look back at the secondary markets, I would say crypto has not really been a focus as of late. Most longer term investors are either looking to accumulate during the bearish market phase, or the trade has been somewhat self-contained. There's been short-term volatility, but not a lot of larger volatility to take advantage of, usually more driven by events and some of the news-related cycles. But we do see that Bitcoin is up on the session yesterday, trading to approximately 16.8 per coin. I will be reviewing a little bit more of some alternative markets, since new year means that new allocations start to come into the marketplace. We also kind of leave a cycle in regards to maybe some of the economic changes that could be taking place this year. And for that, some assets might actually provide not necessarily an all-out bullish case, but maybe an outperformance case. And I'm looking to see where to position for some of those opportunities. But when we look down at our sector performance and just how did the S&P overall perform yesterday, you'll notice some pretty clear deviations along with a lot of inline performance. The strongest sector yesterday was communication services. I would say couple of key stocks that were trading higher yesterday, and this is something you could probably pull through like an S&P 500 filter, just knowing what stocks are in the S&P 500. It doesn't show the changes from yesterday. I should have done this yesterday, but there was some outperformance in stocks like PayPal. Meta was a leader in the communication sector. Let me just pull up the sector itself. So what you could start to do is just review which stocks are going to be drivers for that particular sector. You'll notice a stock like Alphabet was up, but pulled back on the session, not really holding many of its gains. Meta, however, range breakout potentially forming, and we're also getting some back testing behavior. So this one may be ready to finish filling up a very wide earnings gap back from last year. There was also a little bit of outperformance in stocks like Disney. Most of them are going to be on the recovery side of things, along with, let's see if I can find it, communication, or I'll just call it forget the industry that they're highlighted in, but the telecommunication type stocks. So a Verizon and a T-Mobile, AT&T, sorry. Where's T-Mobile? There it is. These are all stocks that led to the upside on yesterday's session. And while they're not necessarily stocks that should be focused on every single day, once again, this is the first session of the year. So getting a sense of where some of the money flow is headed, looking for whether some of these are potentially trend opportunity, sort of buy the dip scenarios, or they just have a repetitive structure that offers good risk to reward. I bring up T-Mobile just as a kind of simple example. You'll notice that being a bull in T-Mobile requires some patience, but the opportunity from a price perspective lies somewhere along the 200-day moving average. So with yesterday's session, one could argue that so long as the lows from yesterday are intact, the opportunity might be that a stock like T-Mobile, with communication leading, could offer a little bit of additional upside. And then, of course, you compare that to a Meta, which, try and get this to clear up before I keep talking. Compare that to a stock like Meta, doesn't look like any significant breakout is taking place. But remember, this range has been intact for approximately a month. So if we do get any sort of breach, that potential breakout opportunity is one to simply start finishing the gap fill. And for those unfamiliar, in order to finish filling this gap fill, we would need to hit a price of 129.82, which would be the closing price of this prior session. So somewhere in this upper region, and the range breakout providing that opportunity, even though it could go much higher with that type of momentum. You know, ranges offer usually a doubling of price potential. So relative strength and communication, may want to keep an eye on those types of stocks, ensure that there's more than just a day of outperformance, but all in all, recovery in a more or less beaten down sector from last year. Probably the worst performing sector as well. If you're recalling back to last year's sector performance, Let me try that one more time. Yeah, I know it takes a little while to aggregate. There we go. So one of the worst performing sectors from last year. And I do believe this is starting to grab a year's worth of data relative to today. So it actually is factoring in some of yesterday's performance. So just remember that, you know, year to date is going to be anchored to the new year. And this is on trading terminals specifically. A trading session has occurred, therefore year to date is just yesterday. But 1 year's performance starts from today, which means it includes yesterday. It's not really anchored to all of 2022 only. So definitely a beaten down sector from last year. The idea is simply that some of the recovery is starting to factor into these percentages. Now that's also true for energy, which once again was an outperformer. But if we saw the weakest sector from yesterday, it definitely was the energy sector, down almost 3.5%, definitely leading the bearishness in the marketplace. And you'll notice a couple of nuances in regards to how front month crude is performing. We're getting very clear sort of selling rejection off of a 50 period MA. We're starting to basically end a corrective pullback. This is essentially the weekly pullback. What's notable here is that most of December was actually bouncing, or had the quality of a weekly bounce in crude. Notable that we're seeing lots of give back in the first 2 days. So remember, this is a weekly view, and right now this candle's not even closed, but we're giving about half back of what occurred in December. You know, the idea is that the trend will recover slowly on bounces, but then the continuation often is faster and often will break pivots, if it does want to continue. So also noteworthy on crude, just keep in mind we are bordering on sort of the last line of support based on some of the performance from last year. Arguable that we've broken other support structures along the way, along this downtrend, but as far as where all pullbacks have kind of anchored to a trend line, this is pretty much the last area I would consider before calling this chart completely bearish. You also note that the 200 period weekly is sitting right underneath. So obviously crude has been declining. There was a very obvious parabolic top and then some back testing that occurred. But moving forward, I would say that crude needs to be on watch more for the speed of the sell, along with what effect it has on energy stocks for 2023. To me, this chart, for the most part, is neutral to bearish. I would not be interested in longs in energy stocks until we saw basically a change in how this chart presents itself. And I think the risk is kind of showcasing in certain underlyings. You start to look at stocks like Oxy, really leaning on that last support structure from 2022, and of course giving back significant price over the past couple of months. Now, that's not necessarily going to kill XLE. That particular sector ETF is mostly based on how ExxonMobil and Chevron perform. But I would also say that yesterday's session was fairly precipitous selling, and we're just trying to see, was it a one-day event? Obviously they're not really breaking to new lows quite yet. But additionally, can we trust this type of selling? Is it going to continue? And are we going to see fresh lows in the next couple of sessions? So you kind of pair that with the weakness we're seeing in nat gas. This has been arguably one of the trickier asset classes to kind of understand. But all in all, I stick to what the technicals are telling me. There's a lot of bearish setup in November and December. Lots of rejection against a sloping 200, just to kind of showcase when things were holding versus when things were rejecting, and then the eventual collapse of price. So I'd be very cautious as to how low this can go. The idea being this was basically a multi-year breakout that we were looking for here. This was quite a while back, of course. This trade's already over and done with, but just trying to understand the type of volatility we're experiencing. It's still relative to a longer time frame chart. My assessment here is that if we do hold a low anytime in the near future, the bounce potential is quite high, but all in all, I would still be looking for this to collapse near the end of 2023 to 2024. Basically, I would say that the rally is either over or consolidative on a much longer time frame. So, yeah, and then last but not least, the China stocks. So the view here, it kind of depends on where you're focusing. Let me get this back to this scan. So yesterday, most of the Chinese tickers that we watch and trade on an intraday basis were gapping up. A few of them were continuing some daily uptrends, and a few of them were actually trying to breach the 200-day moving average. This is sort of a really defensive line in the sand for usually a lot of longer term perspective of bull and bear market. And while this rally is coming off of a very extreme low, I would argue that so far, with the trend being intact, you want to sort of appreciate the type of momentum that we have going right now. First off, as I mentioned before, it's a new year. So whatever positioning is going on into the new year, looking to see if that has at least a 2-day continuation, and then start looking for pullbacks or just buy opportunities or sell opportunities for whatever the new trend structure looks like. FXI is a good way to get a sense of just the larger market cap names for China. It's not going to be as focused on the tech stocks, but you can think of this almost like an S&P for China. And there's also an equivalent. It's a little bit lower volume, but it does represent sort of an index product. GXC is the ETF that I like to use. These are all doing the same thing, which is trying to break out of the 200 for essentially the first time since this bear market has started. The first attempt might fail. We could see another pretty significant sell swing, but I would argue that right now we need to trust the type of momentum we have and start looking for how high could it go. I always kind of think in both scenarios, what would be a problem with this trend? What would be a target? And a lot of these have very strong recovery potential back to something as simple as the April and June and July highs. You can kind of see why I'm deriving that particular price, because it was tested, and essentially the rally so far has gotten us back into where the extremes of capitulation started. So as long as we kind of stay within this price region, it's not out of the question to think that the upper boundary could be re-achieved at some point. And you can kind of mark this off on something like an FXI as well. Obviously, this is multi-week kind of scenarios, but we're looking at what's going on here with regards to a mostly flat market. I know that things are still technically in downtrends, but when you have bounce recoveries like these, especially ones that can kind of break the moving average that started the last sell swing, you start to make the argument that we could be trading on a much larger range, and we're just letting price kind of confirm that. So some stocks that obviously are going to be in focus in regards to those types of bigger scenarios, stocks like BABA. Decent gap up yesterday. I would argue that it looks like it's rejecting the 200, but on the session today, we're already gapped out. So the question now becomes, what took place yesterday? What was the mindset of market participants who maybe shorted the 200-day thinking, they're going to get back into position, and then now we're gapping outside? That obviously puts a little bit of pressure, along with the potential that we're actually breaking out of the 200. We've also broken out of this price region that kind of defined the top of yesterday's trade. If you zoom in here, you can actually get a lot of clarity on yesterday's high. Notice how precise yesterday's high was relative to the range that it was still trading in. I mean, it's hard to get exact highs and lows, but anytime you see that, you kind of know that you have to break that high to really trust any pullback to hold. Otherwise, it can kind of fade. So BABA definitely in focus. And then you just start walking down the list. Stocks like JD don't necessarily have the same push and pull against the 200. They actually were sitting on top, but we are breaking out of range, or possibly right on the edge of breaking out of range. Similar sort of rally back after big extremes. And once again, relative to some of the more capitulative volume back in March and April, this is where higher volume took place. The argument being that that was the big sell swing, and then what we're seeing in October might just be some testing, indicating that this could start trading more sideways to up moving forward on a bigger time frame, obviously. So JD, and then you just, like I said, just go down the list. if you do want a good understanding of like market cap impact, start looking towards your sector ETFs or your industry ETFs. You could dig into KWeb if you're more focused on the tech and internet-based stocks, or you could look at something like an FXI, which I'm not sure this shows. Let's see. Let me take a look. Sometimes it shows the listing, sometimes it doesn't. Yeah. So you'd have to look at what's included in this, an ETF like FXI. It's not quite like the SPY broken down. So I see a couple of questions. Let's see. What is the orange line? That was back a little bit earlier. Was that on Trading Terminal, Ben Franklin, the orange line? Or was that on my platform? Trying to find orange anywhere. I don't usually have orange, so I'll see if I get a response there. Looking for another play like JSPR, possibly. We're getting a lot of biotech strength and usually a lot of lower float names that have a either, you know, like reverse split type catalyst similar to ANTM, COSM, COSM. So there's some repetition in the biotech space that's taking place, especially how they set up on the day. I think we're seeing repetition with how momentum traders expect the stock to move. Let's see. If you look at the expected move for the SPX, seems to me greater volatility is being expected in this short week. Can you speculate why? Well, it is a new year, so the SPX expected move is pricing whatever catalyst is derived from the week. And the argument here is that if we do tests either side, it would represent sort of a technical breach. Obviously, if we close outside of this range, that might start like an actual breakout type event. We mostly stayed inside yesterday, and I'll look at that on the SPY in just a moment. But the week has catalysts that are known, one of which is occurring today, and those catalysts are part of the pricing. So for example, last week and every week leading up into this week, the market knew that data was being delivered on Wednesday. JOLTS coming out at 10, ISM manufacturing for December, ISM employment. Those are some pretty important numbers for, once again, Fed decision making and market positioning relative to whether they see economic slowdown. All of these are going to be important things to track, and it's also a catalyst today. Sometimes that filters into the weekly, but a lot of the shorter term volatility you can actually see on today's series. So if you wanted to know approximately what the market thinks that news event will kind of break the range or move the market relative, and we're talking about the whole session, not just one candle or anything. The SPX right now has about a 35-point expected move for today. That's based on what the prices in the SPX are now. And that's going to be a little bit of ES and SPY kind of movement, because SPX doesn't necessarily have a pre-market. There's no trade occurring here. But the bid and ask right now indicate that we're somewhere around 38.25. We closed at 38.25. So you can make the argument that with a 35-point expected move, 38.60 is not out of the question to the upside, 3800 and maybe even 3790 to the downside. And that is a very simple way of saying that's where I would mark extremes today if the option market is to be trusted. Now, did they price that correctly? It kind of depends on what the reaction looks like. If we start breaching any of those upper or lower bounds, there's some other factors inside of this price region. And as we kind of look at the SPY here, one of the ones that I want to highlight is just how range bound we've been trading. There's obviously some extremes, and if ever you've attended a session where we looked at an S&P range, a balance range specifically, the characteristics here are exactly the same as other balance ranges. It's going to be hard to like grab them at a glance here, but this is a balance range. It's a bigger one. It's a much bigger one. It's a lot more volatile, but it's got the same qualities. It's got these low end events. It's got these large low to high moves. It's got these massive givebacks with usually some sort of lower bound like breach. That breach doesn't work. It goes back inside. It pushes to the highs. All of that characteristic, you can see that here. We stopped selling for a period. We went to a high. We went a little too high. We broke back down. We had a breach. The breach didn't hold. We went back to the highs. You know, it's those same qualities just repeating over and over again in new price levels and new extremes. So you make the same arguments. There's a high, there's a low. Most of the highs and lows are defined earlier, but then the market trades around them and you start to see them through price. You also have a little bit of a mid area, and I've gone ahead and marked a price level about 380.25. We've seen a lot of intraday trades sort of react to this price. Yesterday, if I dig down, this actually provided the support to bounce the SPY back to PDC before we sold off. So it's a short-term area. It's definitely in the middle, but it's reactionary. You can see reactions against it. And it was, for the most part, defined back here. So most people say 380. I've seen more specificity at 380.25, you know, at least where some of these prices are marked. I would keep that one on your chart. But hopefully the range is something that you can mark yourself, because the range, its definition has been defined through other balance ranges, where to expect high and low trade for now until we get outside, and what's going to take us outside, usually a catalyst. You know, look how long this one lasted. Look how long this one's been lasting. It's just an area of very sideways trade. And it's not as volatile as the one down here. This one was pretty volatile. It just had a lot more point moves, you know, high to low point moves. So, all right. I think that's pretty much my time today. So a little bit of a scattered session, but we had a lot of good new information from yesterday. So I would definitely kind of keep your ears and eyes to the ground. Start looking, you know, once again for continuation, or whether we're seeing a lot of range across the market itself. Definitely look for those key stocks in play as we're getting more information for the rest of the week. And be on the lookout for that catalyst later today with ISM and JOLTS. So with all that said, my name is Jared. Trade safe and stay tuned for pre-market prep. We'll talk more tomorrow. Have a great rest of your Wednesday.
A second. All right, there we go. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to PreMarket Prep. I hope you're having an amazing morning. Hopefully, you guys had an incredible day yesterday. Good morning, Norm. How you doing today?
Hey, good morning, brother. I'm doing all right. How are you?
Doing good, my friend. Doing very good. Um, Hopefully, you guys are doing that also. Just one second here, guys. I'm getting very low volume for you, but it's not your end. It's of mine, I think. Just say
It's
something
not
quick,
you,
Norm.
it's me.
It's not. Yeah, it's not you. It's me. There you go. The famous line where you know something is up. And it's definitely you if you get that line, guys. Don't get confused, please. Especially if you're younger. Don't get confused. All right, guys. Let's get into some trading this morning, or at least some stocks. At the moment, guys, our gappers list showing heavy in the green, and Jared spoke about this a little bit. Big thumbs up for Jared engineering the markets every Monday through Thursday. And he gave you a big size picture of all the overall market and some of these Chinese tickers that are up heavily today. As well, with Becky and Baba leading the way. We'll dive into that also. Quick look at what some of the stuff that took place yesterday. We had SQ on the list, and again, for the most part, many of the stocks selling off nicely, especially big tech. Big tech just continues to take a hit here. Here's SQ, had a nice gap up. We had this on deck, and just look at the sell off here. It's just a real nice, real clean. The PayPal, not so much, right? PayPal kind of went sideways. This thing was gapping up as well with SQ on news. Didn't really sell off, but then it didn't allow the market, I guess, didn't allow this to kind of get going and have a nice run. I think this would have been a very strong ticker yesterday if it wasn't for the overall market just selling down, right? So it's just too much weight on this thing to get going. Baba, very nice open here. Beautiful break, guys. Again, it got very extended for a 5 minute, but this thing shot up like a rocket here. Look at this 5 minute candle. Not much you could do with that unless you're doing a 1 minute opening range breakout. If you waited for this, it was just too extended to try to risk this extra pop that it got here. Nice sell off. Try it one more time to get going. It was not able to, actually, a few times here and here. Was not able to, and just look at this drop right back to where it opened up from. So, although you had a sell off here, like many stocks did, Baba just came back to where it was the high of the pre market. So, again, this stock showing some strength yesterday, even though we had a sell off in the intraday. And this morning already gapping up 6.6. So, that's going to be on my list for sure. And then, guys, Tesla, the one that many of us traded. I mean, this thing just when you think it cannot go lower, it does. And here, all the way down to
In a big
104
way.
in a big way, 104.64. I know they had a downgrade yesterday, Norm, you mentioned, and some others just constant.
They
It
missed
seems like,
estimates on sales too,
right. It just seems like
amongst
it's
other
just
things.
negative news after negative news for Tesla. So,
Yeah.
no sign of
It's on SSR
support.
today after dropping over 10% yesterday. So keep that
How
in mind too.
crazy. Who would have thought? Tesla and SSR. Wild
Yeah, it was on
madness.
SSR a week or so ago
I think it
too
was
and
right,
had
like
another
one
big
day.
drop.
Yeah,
Yeah.
one day last week I saw an SSR too, and I was like, "What?" But it is what it is, guys. So again, just taking a big hit. They're up slightly this morning, which doesn't mean much because they were up yesterday too. They were up at least 1%, I think it was, and just a massive drop. Apple also taking a nice hit after a couple of minutes. Look at the sell-off here. Again, just overall big tech not doing well. Nvidia, same thing here. I see MU and some of the semiconductors are up this morning. We'll look at that as well. So again, a lot going on, guys. Norm, you said it. This it was not looking good pre-market, but it turned out to be a very good day as far as moves. We
Yeah.
definitely got them. So,
Just needed a
um,
little bit of time to let people see what the market was going to do after the holiday and everything else. So
yeah, yeah,
it was tough. I took a couple of trades on PayPal and Block to the long side because they were strong. But
yeah,
my day worked out well. But it was hampered to a degree by the overall market weighing those
right.
down, like you mentioned.
As you said, this
So
PayPal especially, I think this would have been very strong. Would have had a bigger
yeah,
move if it wasn't for the market. So yeah,
yeah,
agree.
yeah. So um, all that having been said, at 10 a.m. this morning, we've got ISM Manufacturing. The big one at 10 a.m. is the JOLTS. That is jobs, which is kind of the last domino sitting there. The Fed trying to squash the economy like a bug. Jobs continue to hold up. So we'll see if the strength in the labor market continues with JOLTS at 10 a.m. That's um, job uh, any job openings, labor turnover survey. So then 2 o'clock FOMC minutes. So those are the 2 weeks after the open market committee meets. They meet for 2 days. They discuss what's going on in the economy, what they're going to do with interest rates. As we know, the last time they lowered the amount they raised by just a little bit, gave some moves in the market. This will be some of the details of the conversation within those minutes or within those meetings from 2 weeks ago. So we'll get a little bit of insight as to what the members are thinking when that comes out. And I expect some volatility at that. So if you're in a trade at 2 p.m. Eastern, careful. And then, of course, motor vehicle sales, beginning of every month. We have them released. There are no set times on those. They just come out sporadically over a period of a couple of days. So keep in mind, we've already gotten some of those, specifically from China, predominantly. But anyway, those will be coming out as well. So.
Excellent. Thank you, Norm. Guys, let's get into our list here. Someone's asking, where can they get more information on boot camp? So yeah, check our website,
peakcapitaltrading.com.
Yeah. So go on there and you can have more information. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about that. This was on YouTube. Someone asked.
Okay.
Yep. So Norm will get on that in a second. We'll show you guys where you can find that and a little bit more about us. We go through announcements a little bit later. Guys, let's take a look here. So I'll go ahead and Control A, Control X will remove the watch list that we had this morning. And this gap up list is growing quite rapidly. It was a lot smaller about 5-7 minutes ago. And now it's just kind of growing pretty fast here. Let's start at the top. AMV just got here, so it wasn't here in a few minutes ago. This thing is up 80%, 642,000 shares traded, 9.6 million shares float. Has not been doing well. Oh man, look at this garbage, guys. I mean, what is this? Is this one of these IPOs that just goes ham and has no reason to be at 250? Oh my goodness.
No, I don't think so. This just popped up. I've never heard of this before.
Right, right.
I mean, this IPO'd, it looks like in September.
So
it's not one of the ones you're talking about or thinking about. Usually those happen within the first few days. Predominantly, those have been Chinese tickers that have done that.
Yeah. Well, this one did it. This one went from 50.
It did. I'm talking about now, though.
No. Now I don't even know what's happening now. Yeah.
I don't see anything this morning on it. That having been said, it just popped up. So
yeah. So we'll have to see again. We'll come back to this. I'll put on my risky pile. It is in play today. Hopefully we have a catalyst, but even then, guys, 9.6 million shares flow. So you have to be very careful on this thing. Volume is climbing nicely though. Here's Baba, and I like Baba this morning. We're up pretty big here, 7.1 right now. We gapped up yesterday, couldn't get going, kind of got slammed down a little bit. It's just overall market being weak. And today they kind of had a little slingshot action, up 7%. So I like Baba today. And the great thing about Baba here is that it can go either way, man. We can have an amazing sell-off back towards 96, 94. Or if we're going to be strong, we could even hit 100. You know, that 100 level there is a psychological level that, you know, people like to get to. So Bob is in a good spot today for whatever he wants to do. I like that one quite a bit.
We definitely have a catalyst. There's some regulatory stuff that they had a headwind with that hurt them a while back that they have since, I guess the Chinese government has changed their mind, and that came out, spin-off Ant Group stuff. So that's what's popping them this morning.
And that's the other Chinese tickers as well, right, Norm? I mean, we got a couple here this morning.
Yeah, I mean, most of the Chinese stuff has been moving up and down on regulatory and COVID concerns. This morning's no different. I think that change in their thinking might be spurring more than just Baba this morning.
Yeah. So I like, out of all of these guys, there's a few here you could pick whatever you like. Also, Futu might be interesting because they had a nice gap down a few days ago, and maybe this news can get them going, start closing this gap a little bit. So I like that. I know you're gonna say, no, you're gonna disown me here as your partner, but I like it as a possible today. I think there could be some opportunities there if we can get going. But I like JD. I like JD and Baba this morning. I think those two on the Chinese
You're allowed
end.
to make a mistake every once in a while.
Every
Man.
once in a while, I'm allowed to withdraw some of the credit that I have with Norm. Today's being one of them. I like JD and Baba this morning on there. So uh, let's see what else. MU, I saw MU gapping up 4.8. Not a great trader, but today they got 205,000 shares traded. They're up 5%. I see Nvidia is also up quite a bit as well. So I like MU, but I wish I could find something that would trade better than
Yeah, I
MU on
saw.
this
Well,
news.
all the semis are on here, or they have been. We had AMD and Nvidia's not on here, but they're not too far off the list either.
Yeah.
Like I said, AMD was on here a little bit ago. We had I can't remember what the other one was. I don't see it now. Yeah. So anyway, semis are in play today for sure. They have been beaten down greatly over the
Yeah.
last year or so, and so
Especially Nvidia. Nvidia has been taking a nice hit. What I like about MU though, it has the same volume that Nvidia and almost AMD have. So I think today MU can be on our list. Let's see what this brings out. Again, not a great trader. We'll have to see how data moves. But then when I have MU here, I'm gonna think about AMD. I'm gonna think about Nvidia and these other tickers that move a whole lot better with a lot more volume. So, but I'll put MU here today, guys. They do have decent volume, and pre-market looks probably the best pre-market I've seen out of them in a very long time. More Chinese tickers on here. Also, Billy. Billy had a great day yesterday as well, guys. Well, actually very strong. Did stay above this range, this 25. And today gapping up against some more. So very interesting there. Did not sell off with the rest of the market. I think it's worth having as a possible for now. And actually, this is probably better than Futu. I'm gonna take Futu off. I like Billy much better.
you've been
And
redeemed, sir.
yes, there we go. Put some credit back in the account there, and as we move forward here, um, and then more Chinese stuff, guys. XBev, Tao, Neo, which pretty much been garbage lately. Lee, again, all these EVs just not doing a whole lot. So I'm gonna skip on these here. Tao, doesn't do great. CRM is Salesforce, and they must have news, right? Because they're up 4.5.
Yeah, definitely. Came out. They have some layoffs, restructuring, reduced workforce by 10%. CEO came out and said, admitting to a mistake of adding too many people too quickly during COVID as we headed into a slowdown economically. So they're benefiting a little bit from that this morning.
All right, that's good news for the business. Not the best intraday trading stock, but I like their move this morning up nicely with 333,000, which is actually great volume, guys, because this stock does not trade heavy volume. Sitting on the New York Stock Exchange, we normally don't see this type of great pre-market activity, but that looks good for this morning. I see PayPal's back on the list, up another 2.2. Norm, do you think we have anything left here for a possible move up to 76 or 77?
I mean, I don't
60?
see a catalyst on it. It's definitely on the move up from 68 just a few trading days ago. So we'll see.
Yeah, I like it as a possible. I think they would have
Kind
been
of in no man's
amazing.
land, hanging out there between a bunch of moving
Yeah,
averages right now in the daily. But
yeah,
it's right
yeah.
there. It's just below that inflection point from that candle. You have December 13th, that big drop where it gapped up and then sold off.
hmm
So
hmm
that could be interesting.
Yeah, yeah. Let's see where it goes here, guys, and we'll definitely have it as a possible for now. And then we got AMD
Just be
down here. We
careful. It can
got
be spready. It can jump around a lot. That's the one thing I have to say about that. So make sure it
yeah,
has volume.
yeah. I agree. Couldn't agree more there. INTC getting a little bit of a pop here. Not great value, 178 right now. I'm not gonna add it to my list just yet. I think the stuff we have on here looks a little bit better. All right, let's see who's not taking advantage of this all this green activity. The gap down list is Vera. They're down 60%. Ouch. Vera Therapeutics. So who's getting fired, Norm? What happened here?
Is it a lower float biotech? They did have news that came out yesterday just after the close. Not really something I'm interested based on the price point and everything else. But that having been said, the overall headline seems like it's not negative, so there must be something more to it than that.
Mm, yeah.
Phase 2B trial results came out, so
Interesting.
we talk about it time and time again. These biotechs can be very difficult to trade, especially the
Yeah.
lower float ones.
Yeah. Yeah. That's my take on that. I'll put it here in the lower flow pile. I mean, It's could this be an overreaction? We've seen that many times. But even then, it's just you have to wait to see how this thing is going to trade. They can be very, very difficult. ENVX, these guys are down 35%. So again, just getting slammed here as well. This is not a low flow, sitting at 106 million shares flow. Not sure what the news is, but again, doesn't look like a great intraday trading stock. Based on
This
the
is a
daily
weird
here.
one, man. All I see is yesterday, join live stream special presentation by Novix executive chairman. So whatever he said must not have been good. I don't know what happened.
So he said something they didn't like, that's for sure. At least the markets
Yeah.
didn't.
But once again, that's another ticker at $7. Just
Yeah.
not all that attractive, man.
And actually, when they're hot, when they have such a high float like this, you know, they might not trade well at all. They're actually probably worse than low floats at times, I think. So again, won't have that on my list. Kala this morning, we had this yesterday, or at least saw this yesterday. It's all over the place. Today down 13.9. Hard to borrow. SSR, barely no volume. I think the fun is over on this, right? So let's let's head over to FL. NG, nothing happening here, guys. Barely any volume, down 5%. This is a fling stock, flex, LNG, whatever this is. No good.
Oil and gas. It's a LNG, liquefied natural gas transporter based in Bermuda. Just run.
Yeah. Run away from this. COSM, we know this is garbage, so we'll skip on that. TS, this is a foreign ticker, looks like. Yeah, South America. And it just looks horrible, man. No, don't even look this up, man. I'm gonna skip. Don't even type this into your thing. WB, WB, what is this? Down 2.8, no volume. Doesn't look good, guys. Let's go down to something that might look great for today. And here it is, Microsoft. This would be a great way to end this gappers list because there was a lot of garbage in there, guys. But Microsoft right now, down 2.6, great volume. No, we know big tech has been getting just slammed, right? We'll look at Apple next. Any specific news to Microsoft?
Yeah, they purchased or they're working to purchase a small company. I don't know that it's that big of news, but there's a bunch of different little stuff.
Yeah, I like the volume this morning. I like what they're setting up here at a level of support that we've seen in the past. So that's a good one for today. I'll add them to the list. And then Apple, guys. Apple just took a big hit yesterday, making a new low, as you see here below the previous low, just a couple of trading days ago. So I am definitely going to have Apple on the list this morning. Guys, we got a lot going on. A big list. You can definitely fine tune this on your end based on what you like. But definitely a lot going on this morning. Norm, anything that's not on here that you're going to be keeping an eye on?
Meta this morning might be decent.
Yeah.
I don't know if it will or not. It's
more of a possible, right, at the moment.
Yeah.
We'll take a look. It's breaking out. I mean, it's breaking out of this range. 120 did that yesterday, gapped up, and actually didn't sell down like many of the other companies that did. And today's gapping up. So yeah, that's a good sign here on Meta. So like what I'm seeing there at the moment. Let's take a look at Oxy. What do you guys like on the chat? We looked at a few already that you guys mentioned. Microsoft, Meta, CRM looks good as well. We have that on deck. Normally we do not, just because of the way they trade. Oxy this morning down 1.6. Again, losing some levels here over at 61 and 62. So that is interesting, right? We haven't been down here in quite some time, and we're hitting some areas where we found some support in the past. So this could be interesting on Oxy here. But again, you have to wait for the market open to see how it's going to trade. Pre-market doesn't give you a whole lot of information, as we know. Rivian here. I don't know, man. These EVs, they had their move. They had their move here. Neo, all of them had their move. I'm just keeping my eye on Tesla for now. I mean, I don't, and actually Tesla's not on my list, which it should be. And that's probably gonna be the last one I add on there. Tesla again, 3.5 right now, up 1.3 at the moment. But these other EVs, I don't know, they have not been easy to trade. Here's Rivian. They had a great day yesterday, probably, right? But I mean, everything had a nice day yesterday towards the downside. So I won't give them too much credit for this move here when everything else is the same thing. So I think Rivian, Neo's been, again, great move yesterday, but no credit for that. You could have traded anything. Same thing with Lee. if you look back outside of that, they have not been great. They've been very, very choppy with light volume. That's just my take on it. I mean, look at the daily on Lee, by the way. This is a horrible daily here. So I won't be adding that one. They missed their production. Okay, yeah. So that could maybe cost another move down, but I don't see them being great. You talk about Rivian, right? From my list down
That's not a
20%.
SPAC.
What is this?
SPAC wouldn't be trading around 0 like that. It'd be around 10.
Oh, okay, because it was hanging around here and then it popped up. So the SPACs, right? They're hanging around at 10, and then when they get merged or something, that's when they start moving, right? I got to find out more
Generally, or
about this. Yeah,
announcement of acquisition.
yeah,
That was a
but
reverse stock split, guys. Run from that.
yeah, whatever this
I
is,
thought
it's
it was, but I
nasty.
wanted to confirm it.
Yeah, it's nasty. I don't want no parts of it. Apple is good. I have that on my list. Microsoft is good as well. That's on our list. Billy was your best trade yesterday. It is on my secondary, so that's good. Yeah, I think we're all set, guys. We got a pretty nice list this morning. Futu is in play. I'm not gonna add it to my list, Dennis, but thank you though. Dennis from Texas, trying to get me in trouble. All right, guys, let's go to community events and announcements. We'll come back and fine tune this list in just a second.
All right, guys. Today we are back with webinars. Last night we had onboarding and technology with Carlos. Actually, no, I'm sorry. Yesterday we were back with webinars. Man, I'm thrown off. Having 2 Mondays off in a row has messed me up, but it's awesome to have 4-day weeks.
Yes.
All right. So Wednesday tonight we have. Go to Tuesday. Next Tuesday we've got Andrew talking about 920 trade book strategy. That'll be back at 8 p.m. Eastern. And then then tonight, we have Dr. Kenneth Reed. He is going to be talking about thinking in bets and using probabilities to your advantage. That's at 8 p.m. Eastern. Next Wednesday, special time, 5 p.m. Eastern, Crate will be talking about finding your mental edge. It'd be awesome to have her back. Thursdays for mentorship at 11 a.m. with John and 8 p.m. with Thor. Then we've got Trading Terminal, where we are building an array of tools for active traders. Many great free tools like scanners and replay simulators that people pay thousands of dollars a year for. So be sure to check that out at tradingterminal.com. Somebody asked about the boot camp. Boot camp is coming up, starts next Monday. Just a second. Sorry, I've got squawk that all of a sudden decided to start screaming in my ear. All right, so the boot camp. We've changed it in several ways. One of the big ways is we are greatly reducing the number of people involved. It's going to be capped at about 30 traders. We've got a few slots left, not too many. So if you're interested, sign up because we do have a hard cap on that. Anyway, so that way we'll be able to give people much smaller group discussions when they are in group discussions, some more one-on-one time and mentorship that way. One of the big things we're doing is we're going to have live trading with mentors a minimum of 2 times a week, and that's in a Zoom meeting kind of format, not in a chat room. So it's such a small number of people will be able to be in there, be able to talk through trades. If they want to, they can show their screen, discuss what they did or what they're thinking, what they're seeing is set up. So it should be a great deal. This was based on a lot of feedback and results we've seen from previous boot camps of who got the most help out of it, who had the most success. And it was generally people that were anywhere from 3 months to a couple of years even in their trading journey. Depends on, of course, how much time you actually spend in the chair behind the screens trading. But that they were seeing benefit from it, and they needed just a little more help. That's what we're trying to do. Also, post boot camp continuation. So toward the end of the boot camp, you'll be building a trade book throughout the boot camp. The end and kind of toward the end, you'll be working on a plan of how to implement that moving forward and help continue your trading. So there you go. Don't forget about the live trading summit, March 2nd and 3rd. You can sign up at bearabletraders.com/workshop. Check that out. and we still, guys, still have not had this change yet, but it's coming. Holiday 60, use the promo code Holiday 60 to get half off the Elite Annual membership. And the Pre-Market 24, you get a 1 week trial. That is 7 calendar days. It bills you one time. It does not recur.
All right. Thank you very much, Norm. Okay, guys, let's get to our list this morning. I'm hitting the wrong thing here. Whoa. There we go. All right, let's get to our list this morning. So much going on, so much on here that you can look at today. So I'm going to take a little bit of time to fine tune this. We haven't had a list this big in some time. So let's go ahead and fine tune that. So I have Baba on deck here. So Baba at the moment, they are up 6.8. I do like that what I'm seeing out of these guys. Again, I think we can get a play here either way, long or short. There is going to be an opportunity here on Baba. Next on the list is JD. So JD here, as you can see, gapping up pretty nice as well, 6.6. This actually might be more of a possible because I want to make room for something else. It is probably going to do very similar to what Baba is going to do. Baba has way more volume that I would like to have on deck. So this is more of a possible. I'll move this down, JD, to our secondary list here. I'm going to move it away from my main list just to make some room. I like MU today, but I'm concerned that MU is not going to trade well. It's not going to give us the moves that are going to be as clean, hopefully, on NVIDIA and AMD. But today, I mean, MU with 240,000 up 5%. That is really, really nice. So I think I'm still going to move them down. Let me see which one out of AMD or NVIDIA looks better this morning. AMD is okay. NVIDIA, they're both just right there. There's no, you could pick whichever one. I'm gonna go with NVIDIA, but either one, they're both the same. There's no difference in the way they're moving and trading right now. Even the volume is right there. So I'm gonna go with NVIDIA. I'm gonna keep MU on here. I'll keep a close eye on MU. I'm just thinking about how MU trades on a regular basis. You don't get that great volume out of it. So I just want to have something that's going to for sure give me the volume that we need to make better decisions. So that's going to be NVIDIA. CRM this morning, man, CRM is rocking, guys. It is up 4.8 right now. So $6 from the previous day close, 650. 135 was the low of the pre-market. You're now at 141. So this thing is cranking for sure. Going right through some levels here. We had this 139 where we had a little bit of a pit stop here and then a continuation happening there. Do we have a level up here? We're struggling here at 141. So let's mark that down, see what that means for CRM. If I look to the left, I don't see any major stuff there. So not sure why they're stopping there. But again, very, very good this morning. Looking very nice. Not typically a great trader, but I think today is the day that we keep CRM on the list. Here's Microsoft. Wow, volume just keeps on climbing. 708 and 69,000 already, down 3%. No mercy right now for Microsoft, guys. Not a great day yesterday. Today, it's just getting a body slam at the moment, and they're only down 3%. But the fact is that they're down. They were down yesterday. They're hitting some. They're just blowing by some levels of support here, where they're making a new low, which is not good. Right, low in the last couple of not the year low, but a couple of days. And we haven't been down here since November, so not a good time for Microsoft, as you can see here. We'll come back to that one. Definitely like what I'm seeing there. Microsoft heavily in play this morning. Isn't it in a gap, Ben? Let me go back and look. Yeah, it is. It's right dead center in the middle of this gap up that we had back in, was that mid-November, early November? So right on there. And we have a level here at 230. What's this? 232.71. We have a level here from the daily as well. So we're just kind of right on this level of support that we're seeing there. So again, very interesting spot right now on Microsoft at the moment. Let's go back to Apple. What is the catalyst on Microsoft? I think it was I think it's all big tech is down overall. So I think that's the bigger issue with Microsoft, right? All big tech is down. I mean, I look at Apple as well. So they're just getting slammed, man. But yeah, who was the downgrade by the way? UBS. Yeah, it's just I'm sure a lot of these tickers are going to get downgraded. Tesla got downgraded yesterday as well. So again, just downgrades coming in for some of these big companies here. So Microsoft is good. Apple right now down yesterday, huge. This morning not down a whole lot because I mean they dropped so much yesterday. They're probably taking a little bit of a break here, but definitely in play this morning. We'll do some levels for this. Volume starting to pick up nicely, and then Tesla, the beast, of course, already 4 million shares traded. This thing is just the volume every morning, man, it's just incredible. And right now we did a new low yesterday. Now this is a new 52-week low. Tesla's been on just a tear. So new 52-week low. They also got a downgrade yesterday. Yeah, look at the volume increasing too. Like this is already 115 million. Look at the increase we had in the last couple of days as we get closer to making new lows and hitting that 100, or getting close to hitting that 100. I wonder if we're going to hit that. We went to 102 yesterday, right? 102, yes, 104. I wonder if we're going to hit that 100. I bet we will. I bet we will. And secondary list, guys, looks very good as well. We have MU, which we talked about already. JD, which is kind of gave you an explanation there. I'm going to keep Baba instead, but JD looks decent. We have PayPal. This PayPal is a sleeper today. Might not do anything, but I like the fact that they were strong yesterday. They're gapping up again today. Same thing with Billy. They were strong yesterday, gapping up again today. So that's a good signs of strength there. Let's see if we can get some continuation. Meta on here, same thing, strong yesterday, gapping up this morning, and then Oxy's just doing whatever it's doing. So plenty of stuff in our possibles list for us to have secondary opportunities and plays there. And then our two low flows at the bottom here, AMV, not doing a whole lot. And this Vera also just pretty quiet right now as far as the pre-market action. They gapped up and down, and they're just not moving a whole lot at the moment. So be careful with those guys. Risky stocks towards the bottom there. All right, excellent. Yes, you did, Matthew. You heard correct. Tesla is on SSR. Yes, believe it or not, Tesla is on SSR after such a drop yesterday, and they were on SSR. I forgot what it must have been. Must have been here, or must have been when we gapped down here. But they were on SSR sometime last week as well, right? It's just that they're getting destroyed, guys. I mean, look at this chart. Look at this chart going back to August, right? August, July, where they kind of got into a range there and just completely started losing it. End of September, October, you can see the drop there. They never look back, man. Held on to that 9 moving average and just getting destroyed there. All right, let's get some levels in, guys. If you have something that you like this morning, let me know. Yeah, so SSR shows short selling restriction, which you can still short the stock, but what it means is you have to short it on an uptick, right? And this is Tesla right there. They got 10 million shares, so plenty of shares for short. That's not going to be an issue. And you can see here, short selling restriction activated on this symbol. So, and that's done by the exchange. That's not done by your platform. So don't go to another broker, think it's going to be different. That's done by the exchange for any broker you're trading with if you're looking to short a stock that is on SSR. Let's get levels in place, guys, here. Let's start with Baba this morning, which is one of the ones that's looking very good as they're gapping up today, 6.8. I'm going to mark down here 98.67, high of the pre-market at the moment. The low of the pre-market down at 96.25. And again, guys, remember on this one, this stock loves to sell off on gap up days. So we're gapping up pretty big this morning. I don't have a strong bias that is what's going to happen. But if you don't see a big push with volume towards the top, be on the lookout for a possible sell-off there. So I'll be ready for whatever takes place. But I like the sell-offs because the sell-offs seem to happen more aggressive and you get a better run when they sell down, especially on a gap up like this. So looking forward to that. And if it's combined with the market selling off, even better. Gives you more of a push to get that momentum going towards the downside. Levels here, we have 98.69, 196, basically 101, and then we have 104.81. So a couple of levels towards the top there. Towards the bottom, you start getting into the range that we just broke out of. Graph the wrong thing, it's not a mouse. Broke out of. So right here, highs and lows of the last 2 trading days, doing a pretty good job there as far as levels. You don't need to add anything else, guys. Just those 3 levels there, and you are set. NVIDIA Tesla dropping. Let's take a look. Yeah, Tesla's taking a bit of a drop here, heading back to the previous day close. Yeah, man, it's not good. So the little pop they got this morning, just a little bit of relief after settling down so much and creating a new low. I won't be surprised if this thing is in the red pretty soon and testing some of the lows from yesterday. Let's get some levels for Tesla since we're here already. High of the pre-market is going to be 110.50, 110.49 to be exact, right on there. And then towards the bottom, low of the pre-market right now, 107.33. So within here, you have your range of your high and low. You got the previous day close. Just a whole lot going in here right now in the pre-market as we see this thing plummet back down to the previous day close. Then below that, guys, the low for the last two trading days, and this low is your new 52-week low that was held last week, breaking that yesterday, and today we might break it again. So looking forward to see how Tesla is going to trade with their insane number of volume. CRM, CRM, we'll do that next. CRM doesn't trade all that well, but today they look really good, Mustafa. In the pre-market, they look very, very good. But again, it depends on your trading style. They're a little bit more slow pace, and it could be a little bit gappy because they don't get a whole lot of volume. But today they got 446,000, right, which is a lot. Normally, they're daily. If you look here, they're trading around 7 million, 6 million, maybe 5, right? Very low volume. But today they're starting off on a pretty good foot here. Let's take a look here at a CRM. So I have some levels already on this thing. We have 139.79, right? We got an area here which we kind of stalled a little bit. We have 141.44. That is our high of our pre-market right now. And we have 143.45 towards the top. So again, plenty of levels there. And then towards the bottom, you got tons, right? Do not need to add anything else this morning. So that's CRM. Again, great pre-market activity right now, hoping that they can trade well. Microsoft, let's dive into this. So Microsoft making a new low right now, pushing lower. So we're going to go ahead and mark down that new low is going to be over at 231.90. So we will slam a level there, my friends, for 231.90. And let's look towards the bottom of this. We have a couple of levels here that we marked before, 224. 26, 219.56, and obviously all the way down here. We're not gonna, I hope not. We're not gonna get to 213 today. But right below this area, right, we got some support here, pre-market low. There is something right in here. Again, it's not a major level like this one where you have a change in direction. I love these levels where you have a change in direction. You do have something right on here at 228, might actually be 229, but 228.78. You do have a couple of days opening, closing right around that area. Worth marking down. All right, maybe don't put too much weight on that level, but I think that's worth having there, especially if we're going to be breaking down from this 231 we're seeing here. Now that we have a new low, I'm gonna actually move this 232. It makes more sense to have this right around here, right? So now we have a new low here. This 233.16 makes more sense right over here. You got tons of support there. You had a little bit of a bounce, the drop here, you lost that, now you created a new low, right? So I think this area makes more sense for that level at the moment. Here is Apple. If we look at Apple right now, just kind of stuck between the highs and lows of the last two trading days, not doing a whole lot right now, but it is pushing some good volume around, so that is good. High of the pre-market at the moment, we are checking out 126.68. And then towards the bottom, we have 125.38. So we'll slam a level there as well. And I think once you do that, guys, you're pretty much set on Apple. Big red day yesterday, recovering a little bit like Tesla is, but Tesla selling back down to the previous day close. I wonder if Apple is going to be looking to do the same thing. So let's see where it goes there. Here is Tesla, and Matthew, you mentioned, do you know why the pre-market like Tesla can jump from 89 to 290 in one 5-minute candle? What causes that? Those are usually, and it depends on your platform. So for example, I had someone over a week ago or 2 weeks ago, they mentioned that they had that candle on this specific date, and I did in my pre-market. So they're the platform they were using, Thinkorswim, and they had this candle where it went up to like 290 or something, and then back down to the actual price. And those are usually transactions being recorded. It's not actually the price going up there and coming back down, right? So those are just transactions being recorded when you see that crazy wick. You see that a lot at 8:30, 8 a.m. You see that. Let me see if we find anything that has that pre-market. No, I don't see anything here. But usually you see that a lot like on 8 a.m. 7 p.m. Like at the set hour, you might see huge wicks of transactions just being recorded overnight, right? So, and I tell you, like, even if I've been in trades when that has happened, like a pre-market trade, like at 7:30, and then at 8 a.m., the stock market, the price starts doing all of this, and then it just records the wick towards the top, right? Like $5 wick. And I'm in this trade, and your P&L, if you look at it, because when I first saw it, I'm like, whoa, what just happened? The first thing I looked at was, what does my P&L look like? And it didn't even move, right? It just stayed exactly where it was at. So it's just transaction being posted, the price not actually going up there and coming back down. So, and actually, I had an order. I had an order there, and it didn't get filled, right? It just went right through the triangle, came back down. Here's Tesla, guys, heading back down. Previous day close with some good volume, guys. 107.33 is the low of the pre-market on Tesla right now. That is going to be exciting. Guys, we got a great day. We had a great day yesterday. It looks like we have a great morning setting up already. This seems like it's going to be a very, very good day. So some of our secondary stuff here, MU, JD, PayPal, Billy, which could be very good in a secondary move here. Meta as well, same thing, breaking out of this range, gapping up and pushing higher. And then we have Oxy, which we just have to wait for the market to see how that is going to trade. A couple of minutes left. We'll wait for our moderators to throw out their list, and we will call it a day, my friends. Any questions? Any questions so far that we can answer? Checking our YouTube chat. Looks good. No questions there. Guys over on YouTube, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Make sure you hit that thumbs up. We appreciate it very much. It does help out the channel. And the likes is an indicator of what the stock market and the economy is doing. So 115, we're doing all right. We're kind of still in a recession type situation. So above 250, things start changing, and we really start seeing the job market and everything else come back. So if you could hit those likes and help the economy in the US, that would be amazing. What are you cooking up with Thor? Oh, yes, we're cooking some stuff there, my friends. We're cooking some stuff there. So we'll be coming out shortly. It'll be a lot of fun. Be a lot of fun. Carlos, what indicators you have on your charts for ORB? I have the same ones. I still have all the indicators that I learned from Andrew when I was taking the classes. I haven't changed anything. I haven't added anything. I haven't taken anything off. It's just, the moving average is 9, 20, 50, and 200. I have the VWAP, which is probably for ORB, is probably one of the most important ones that I look at in regards to, to day trading. So I have my VWAP, and let me see, do I have, and the VWAP is hard to see. I know which one it is because it's there, but I should make it a little bit darker, maybe thicker. But this blue line right here, that's the VWAP, right? Which again makes no sense right now. After the market is open, makes a whole lot more sense when you got the volume going through it. And that's it. And then the levels, highs and lows of the last 2 trading days, and the levels that I set with you here this morning. So again, keep it very, very simple. And for the way I trade, that works, right? Now, if you're trading reversals, if you're heavy on reversals, look at the levels that Thor has, look at the level that Jared has in Amen, right? Look at their levels. They help a ton when it comes to reversals. I'm not heavy on reversals, so those for me don't do as much, don't work as well, or not don't work as well. I don't use them as much. But if you're doing reversals, those levels that they have, Thor and Jared are going to help you a ton there. All right, guys, moderators list coming up. Let's go ahead and bring this over, and let's go ahead and disable the video here. So I'll bring over our moderators list, and we can see what everybody else is watching this morning. So a lot to watch today, a lot in the green this morning, and should be a whole lot of fun. All right, let's bring this over here, guys. We have, let me not block my list. There we go. Okay, perfect. So we have Megan looking at Amazon and MU, Susan looking at Netflix and Meta, Jared, Meta, MU, secondary list, energy stocks, Oxy's on our list this morning as well. We have Brian looking at Amazon, Tesla, Microsoft, and XLE, short from yesterday. My man, yes. So already, Brian taking advantage of some moves early this morning. Guys, make sure you sign up for the swing trading alerts from Brian. Just go over to our Bear Bull Traders website, education, scroll all the way to the bottom, and just put in your email there, and you're going to get a very clean email from Brian, I think once or twice a week, just showing you what his positions are, some of the stuff that he's looking at to possibly get short, and you'll get access to a video he does every Sunday as well. It's posted private on YouTube, but if you sign up to that list, you'll get the link. and you can see some of the stuff that he's looking to do as far as swing trading. So yeah, Ross, those Brian's emails are amazing. They really are. I get a copy of them, and they're just straight, straight to the point, very clean. You're not gonna get spammed. And then if you tie that with the video, it's just you have some really good information that you can decide to take or not, right? So really good stuff. So definitely sign up. And guys, completely free, by the way, over on YouTube, completely free also. All right, that is our day, guys. Take care, trade safe. See you guys tomorrow. Tonight we have tonight what is it? I'm confused. It's Tuesday? Is it Tuesday? No, today's Wednesday. All right, we have psychology. We have psychology tonight. So psychology night, guys, at 8 p.m. This evening. So guys, take care, trade safe. We'll see you guys tonight or tomorrow morning.